Hey everyone, welcome to another Run Wild with Us. Ask Us Anything. I'm Lisa Kastner. I'm the founder and executive editor of Running Wild and Rise Presses, and I'm here with you on Thursdays between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm typically here with some of our other editors, and we're here to answer any old questions that you have. We actually might start having some of our authors with us as well. I've had some interest by some of our amazing authors who have said that they thought it would be kind of cool to join us. So look for that. Look for some of our authors to join us. Anywho, again, welcome. And for those of you who may be watching and you've never seen this before, so you're like, I don't know what the hell this is. All you have to do is, if you have a question, go into the comments section of whatever venue you are watching from. We are on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and just pop in there, and YouTube. Sorry, forgot one, YouTube. And just pop in your questions. And what we do is we basically take turns in responding to whatever questions you may have. So it's a nice, fun way to get questions answered. It could be about anything. Typically, we get questions around publishing, creative writing, process, all that kind of stuff. But honestly, you really could just ask us whatever the heck you want. That's why we're here. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you guys. We've actually, I realized a little while ago, I think we've been around for like over 2 years now, maybe 3. Like, holy moly, that's crazy talk. When we started this, I just thought, hey, it might be kind of neat to put this on the air. And your response has just been so wonderful that we figured, hey, we'll keep on going. So here we are. We actually, anyone who follows me on any of these venues most likely saw that on Monday, I actually presented our fall catalog to IPG. Now, if you don't know what IPG is, it's okay. IPG is our distributor. It's actually the 3rd largest book distributor in North America. And what happens is a couple of times a year, they have a sales conference in which all of the publishers that they represent will come out and they'll pitch all the stories or whatever books they want for the upcoming catalog. Believe it or not, even though we are a small independent press, we are putting out 15 new titles. This fall. That is insane. I mean, there are some small presses that, they maybe put out 1 book a year, if that. And so for us to be putting out 15, we really have a dedicated team who truly, truly love you guys and love getting out these incredible stories in order to make this happen. So I just really want to thank everybody, anyone who follows us, our editors, our product manager, our cover designer, our interior file designer. Absolutely everybody who is part of our team and our extended family. You guys are amazing, and there's no way we could be doing what we're doing without you. I also went back and double checked. I believe this year we're actually putting out 32 total titles. Again, holy moly. Again, that's just insane. I'm just in awe of our incredible team of folks. If you are someone who has been following us, if we accepted your title a while ago and you're like, what the hell, man? Why isn't my book out yet? Well, there are a couple of reasons, to be candid. So that is a question I actually did receive in this past week. I received that, and I received a few times from people. I submitted something to you. I really want to be published with you guys, but I haven't heard anything. So what the heck's going on? Well, luckily, I have answers. So the first answer, you acquired my title. I haven't heard anything. and it's been a while. Well, what happened was we actually acquired a bunch of titles, I want to say about a year and a half ago. And we were all ready to rock and roll. And it was just like this one after another. We had several editors who became ill. I mean, one woman had a stroke, and another one had a heart attack. Two people ended up on what do you call it? Or basically they weren't allowed to work anymore. We actually had a few others who said, you know what, I enjoyed editing the stories that I did edit for you guys, but I've decided I want to do a different route. I don't really want to be an editor. So it took us from having a pool of around 20 editors that we worked with back down to, I want to say 8, maybe something like that. And all of us have day jobs, right? So we're all still rocking and rolling, and we all have families and everything. So what we had a great intention with, more than 20 editors that we were working with, taking it back down to like 8, that made it really difficult to get through all of these fantastic stories that we had already brought on. So we agreed as a team that what we would do was focus on those stories that we had already acquired, get through all of them so that we have everyone is assigned an editor, and they've minimally begun that process. And then we would have another acquisitions meeting. Brittany Bell Connolly, hey Brittany, awesome to see you, says good evening. That's a heavy lift for 8 editors. I agree. It is truly a heavy lift. And our guys everybody who's an editor for us has to go through a test. That means that not everyone who applies to be an editor with us actually becomes an editor. And so we're looking for a very specific quality of editor. So, that makes it even more difficult, because I'll have I have had several people reach out to me saying that they were interested in being an editor. And when they went through our process, our test, it was clear that, they were great editors. Don't get me wrong. It's just that their way of interacting and engaging with authors, it wasn't really along the lines of what we typically do. So anyway, so we had that went down. We have about 10 titles that still need editors. And so we went from like 30 or 40 maybe. So we're down to 10. Once those 10 have actually do have editors assigned to them, then we will go and have our next acquisition meeting. So with that in mind, my guess is that we will probably have another acquisition meeting, I'm going to say sometime between June and September. A lot of this really is just dependent on how quickly we can get these additional titles assigned. Now, if you are one of those 10 people whose fabulous story we've acquired, and you haven't necessarily heard anything, or you don't have an editor yet, I actually do encourage you, and when others have reached out to me, I've said this exact same thing. This is actually a great leverage point for you. So what you could do is you could take the fact that you've already got a deal with a publisher and go to another publisher and let them know, like, hey, I had a deal with this publisher, and it's taking them a lot longer than I anticipated, and I would really love to get my book out tomorrow instead of 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 2 years from now, or whatever. So are you open to talking about it, and see what they say? You might be surprised. You should use all the tools that you have to accomplish whatever your goals are. And so, definitely, a few of the people who've reached out to me in the last, year or so, I've said the exact same thing, right? If you don't feel comfortable with it, please feel free, go ahead. It's a non-issue to cancel out the contract and for you to move on to another publisher. It is completely fine. Another thing that causes delays in terms of it actually getting to market, it has more so to do with all the rules around having a book go to market. And so what I mean by that is, so once you have an editor, and let's assume it takes, let's say it takes like 2 to 3 months, something like that, to go through the whole editing process. Excuse me. And it goes to one of our product managers. And our product managers are in charge of getting that finished product through all of the initial formatting, getting the basic PR information, like comp titles, getting the log line, getting the back jacket copy, getting your photo, if you so choose to use a photo for the cover, getting any concept ideas that you may have around the cover that you would like to use. I mean, a whole slew of things. We actually have a questionnaire that we also send out that captures some basic publicity and marketing information that we actually do use in that sales conference I mentioned earlier to help promote the books to the sales force. So we go through that whole process. Hey, Peter, how you doing?
Hello. How are you? I'm good.
Good. How are you doing?
I'm really good. Weather's turning warm. It's a beautiful time in Florida. Things are going good.
Nice.
What have I missed?
I was just explaining the production process. So.
Oh, cool. Please continue.
Okay. So that production process, again, I'd say that usually it can take anywhere from 1 to 3 months. And typically delays are usually more around the areas of like the interior file formatting. Because believe it or not, it's a lot of work to do that, especially if you have any kind of images in your manuscript, that kind of thing. And then once we get everything to the actual manufacturer and the distributor, they have a timeline where usually it's 9 to 12 months. We have to have everything into them 9 to 12 months before the publication date. So if you actually right now, let's say we finished a book, everything's in to the manufacturer and the distributor today, your book's probably not going to get published until I want to say first quarter of 2025.
Wow.
So for some people, I mean, that's like a big deal, right? It's like, I don't want to wait that long. And I totally understand that. I've had authors who come to me and say, well, what do I need you for? I can publish this myself. I'm like, okay. I totally get that. And the benefits that you get from being with a publisher, it's the promotion that we do. A lot of it is behind the scenes. Like you may not see us sending stuff out for reviews, right? And I'll talk about that in a minute because Peter got a really exciting info today about one of the titles that he works with this one author regularly. I mean, they're like best buds. So, but yeah, so, the authors don't see this and they don't see the sales force for the distributor going out and pushing, the titles that they really believe in to the retailers and the libraries and so on. So it may feel like, well, what the hell do I need you for? And again, I totally get that. So I just go back to the, like, you do you got to do what's best for you,
Exactly. But the question I have is the timeline for other publishers the same? I mean, for the larger publishers, I got to think it'd be a little longer, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, you're spot on. With the larger publishers, it's about the same, and sometimes it is longer. The only times I've heard of where it's like tighter, like more like 6 to 9 months, is like, let's say they're trying to meet a specific, like a holiday or a festival, or like there's and they had some problem where like a previous author jetted, and so they had to bring in another author to take over the project for them.
Mhm.
You know, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, if you're with a major, like a major distributor, a major publisher, it's going to be that kind of timeline. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, the experience and scope of ability and knowledge that a publisher, a press offers to an author. I mean, we've had several authors come in saying, I know everything, and I don't want to make any edits at all to the manuscript. It's like, well, there's a reason why we have this process,
Mm-hmm.
and some people just balk at it, and I mean, they're left adrift in the sea when they break away from us because they're not benefiting from what we've experienced, or what we know.
Right.
That's one of the things I don't understand.
Totally. I mean, and what's funny too is we've had authors who said, "Well, I don't know that I want this," and they'll go away, and we're always like, "Hey, man, it's all
Yeah.
good, right? You do you."
Right.
And they'll go to another publisher and they'll hate it, and they'll come back to us with another work, or sometimes the same work,
Mm-hmm.
and and they're like, you know what, I've changed my mind. I'd rather be with you guys. And it it is what it is, right? I'll just keep saying it, so much of it is like, you do you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I need to talk about this. So we found out today that Curtis Smith, who Peter works with regularly, and actually Peter was the editor for Lost in the Blind, and it is actually a finalist for the Indie Press Awards by Forward Review, to be the book of the year for 2023. And I mean, that was just a great thing to greet us with this afternoon. So
Absolutely. I mean, it's his second book of the year finalist book that he's
Mhm.
written in the past several years, with Magpie Returns and now The Lost in the Blind. I mean, it's a testament to how good his writing is, how gripping his characters are. I mean, Lost in the Blind. I mean, that poor little kid and what he carried on his shoulders was amazing. The way he put it into the story was incredible, and I'm super happy for him. I reached out to him and I said, "Congratulations! I mean, he definitely earned it." Did I edit it? Of course, yes, I did, but I didn't. All I did was make something that was really good a little bit better because it was already good to begin with. So, and I love working with him. He's very open. He's very understanding. He's very open to criticism, as well as having dialogue back and forth, saying, "Well, what do you think about this?" And just saying that this is my opinion, but let's see what you can come up with, because it's not my book; it's his book.
Right, totally.
So,
and by the way, Curtis's his first book with us, which I think it was Magpie's Return, that did win among the best of the year by Kirkus Reviews. So he's more than demonstrated his ability. And actually, I think he's gotten 2 of among the best of the years from Kirkus. So
awesome.
yeah, the second
Well
one
deserved. Well deserved.
Oh yeah, absolutely, totally. Oh, so Caroline says, very heavy lift, as Britt says, but back to the number of, I was saying how we went from like 20 editors that we worked with down to like 8, because it was just like this, one person got sick, someone else had a stroke, someone else, like had a heart attack, someone else.
Not that we worked them too hard or anything.
I know, right? And I'm like, and we all already have, day jobs. So it was like, oh my God. And like, so we went from 20 down to like 8, So, but she says, Caroline says, but you guys are up to it. Just stay calm and steady. It's good to see you're open and honest as always, truthful and encouraging all the way things are to do what is best for them. And also says, hey, Peter, I just think, I mean, honestly, when all this went down at first, I was like, oh my God, like, okay, well, we'll just, I know, Peter, I know you remember this, right? Because we meet as a team a couple times a year, like the core team, right? Our leadership team. And we literally went into Submittable and did a search to find like how many, and we had something insane like 40 books left. That doesn't include the ones we had already either edited or were in the progress of being edited. And we all just kind of went, oh shit. Okay, all right. So let's just figure this out, right? We'll just make it happen. So
Yep.
yeah, totally a testament to to everybody. Absolutely everybody.
But this core team is awesome. I mean, the thing that we're accomplishing is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the books that we're choosing, I mean, the quality keeps going up and up, and the author's experience and talent keeps going up and up. So it's very exciting. You know, I'm glad. You know, I'm one of the editors that won't leave. So you know, you just got to put up with me. That's fine. But yeah.
I agree, and I'm amazed at when you look at the background of a lot of the authors that we're publishing now. I mean, they published with major publishers, and you know, when I talk to them, a lot of times they're like, I just wasn't happy there, and and so they intentionally selected us to work with. So I mean, to me that's just a huge honor, you know.
Yeah. I'm just, you know, impressed with how many books we're publishing every year.
Oh, and to be fully transparent, guys, we had a leadership meeting like March 1st, I think.
Yeah.
And we agreed we would only publish 10 books per imprint, so 10 for Running Wild and 10 for Rise per year, because we all need to stay sane. And this is not the way to do it.
No, I'm juggling 3 right now. I've got a second round edit that just came out a couple weeks ago. I just sent a second edit out, or first edit out to the author about a month ago, and I'm making my way through a third book. So I'm just bebopping between all these different subject matters and characters and all that stuff. So, and voices and everything. I mean, it's interesting because it keeps you engaged, it keeps you alert and excited. At the same time, your thoughts kind of tend to skew a little bit because you've got this other book on your mind, or you're still trying to work on this one. So, I mean, it's fun. I enjoy it. That's why I do it. It's just fun working with people's words, you know, and saying what he's really getting after is this, and let's see if we can draw it out, you know. And,
well, and we're all authors too, right? I mean, Peter, you've been working on a novel that I bug you about.
Yeah, WTL, way too long.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got Family Pack coming out, and that's only by the sheer miracle that I have people on my hiney who are like, you need to put down whatever it is that you're working on, and you need to focus on this. And there's sometimes when you can tell that this isn't an I'm asking you to do it. This is I'm telling you to do it. It's like, okie dokie.
Fingers to the fire.
Yep, totally. Margaret Buchanan says, it's been a while, Peter. Welcome back. I know we have missed you for real. Ben and I bring you up at least once per Run Wild with us, because we're like, look, the magic man, he has to come back soon. So
I miss this. I do miss this because it's just interesting, and I always learn something, and I hope that, you know, I can offer some sort of information that's interesting, or at least say something interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this face-to-face is fantastic.
I agree.
Very enriching, very inspiring. Especially with your logo in the background, the backdrop. They're like, yeah, you know, someday soon I'm going to have that.
Yes, you are, young man.
Yep.
Margaret, now that's for anyone who's watching. So Margaret is actually one of our authors as well. And she's made the comment, I signed with Running Wild in October of 2022, and we're near the finish line, and it is worth the wait. So Margaret, I'm so glad you feel that way. That absolutely means the total world. So.
Well, this third author that I've been working with, I mean, we signed him late last year, and he actually reached out to me saying, what's going on with this? You know, what's happening? Because I haven't heard from you in a while. And I was, you know, hip deep in the first novel I was working on. I'm like, I just got this sent back to the author. I'm working on the second one, finishing this up soon. I'll get to you. And that was 3 months ago. So I reached out to him probably 3 weeks ago when I started working on his book. I mean, his patience is incredible, you know, to wait that long, because I am just so bogged down with projects, with my own projects and the ones I'm editing. I mean, that patience is to be, that's a very positive trait, because it took me a long time to get to his book. But now that I'm in his book, it's really interesting finding out his voice and trying to understand where he's coming from with this, because it's very, very ethereal, his voice is, because he doesn't have much description, doesn't have much place. And I keep pressing him and saying, what does this look like? Or where are we here, kind of thing. But his voice is very comfortable. It's very interesting. I really want to see where this book is going to end up. So it's been a process. It's been interesting. I appreciate his patience.
Oh, very, very cool.
So he's excited to work with us. Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. Yeah. I'm working on one with a gentleman from Africa, and he set up a one-on-one with me, and I didn't realize where he was located, and it was 2 a.m. for him, and I was like, "Oh, love, you need to go to sleep." Like, and he was just so excited. He's like, "I've been waiting. I can't believe it. We're finally here." And I'm like, "You need to go to bed." Like, I am in deep admiration that you actually are up at 2 a.m. just to say hi and like find out what the process is. But we could have done this in email, dude. Like, you did not have to do this to yourself.
That's cool. I mean, we got Africa. I've got the Netherlands that one of the books I'm working on is from. The author is in. So it's like international. We're international.
Totally. Very, very cool. So Brittany says, how does one apply to become an editor? Super duper easy. All you have to do.
There's a test.
Well, all right. Okay, that's fair. So Brittany, all you have to do, email me at runningwildeditor@gmail.com and just mention that you want to apply to be an editor. I will then send you the editor test. Real fast, the actual test is, what I'll do is I'll send you a draft manuscript of some sort, and I will ask you, is this something that you would acquire? If so, why? If not, why? And then how would you actually work with the author? And then I just take that back and see if the style fits with our style of editing. So, yeah.
That's I did it just 3 times. So it's
No, you didn't.
It's Thursday night. I'm in a good mood.
I'm like, I asked you to be an editor, so I'm like, you're full of shit.
Yes, I am.
Yep. I asked, so Peter and Ben were the first 2 editors who joined me, and I actually had asked them to be editors for us because we had published them, and I work with them, and their collaboration style for editing was one that I was like, you know what, I think they would be a really, really good fit. And they both said yes by some miracle. And here we are, 7 years later?
Yep. Yeah, 23, 24 books edited so far.
Wow, man, you've got to I was actually thinking about this last night. I have an advanced review copy of actually an amazing multi-genre work by Jonathan Mayberry called Necrotech, which he puts in the opening of his books, all the titles that he's already published and if they're part of a series and all that. And we need to start doing that. Like, you need to have a website that lists out all the books that you've edited. Yeah.
I do have a website, and I need to update it I've got like 5 or 6 books on there, including one of the anthologies, I think. But yeah, definitely need to update that. Just because I'm proud of it. I mean, I've got a shelf up there of the books that I've edited. And I mean, it's really neat to be involved with that many books, that many writers, that amount of talent to have made, that much of an impact on somebody's work. Because I mean, this is one of the feelings you can't really understand unless you really do it. And there's many feelings like this, but this one is like, you make suggestions, and I tell my authors, or ask my authors, not to point out or make any comments like say, well, I changed this, what do you think? Just let it be natural. And when I read it the second time and I just smooth over all those bumps, it's just like, I just forget what I've done because the writing is so much cleaner, so much nicer, so much fuller and more robust. Places there, emotions are there, the senses are there. I just really enjoy what authors can do with it. You know, it's not me doing it. It's me just saying, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? It's their artistry. It's their talent. It's their craft. Their skill that makes these changes. And it's just so enjoyable to experience that, you know, for the second or third time through the book. So,
well, my favorite story of an author who had worked with you, and this is more recent, his work is coming out. I think it's with How We Were Before. I'm maybe not. But anyway, it's a title that's coming out soon. And I was talking
this
to the
then
author.
Is what counts, right?
That's it. This then is what counts. Yep, that's it. Thank you. And I had an author's view, and we were talking about it, and he owned up to the fact that he got your initial feedback and he thought it meant one thing, and then his wife said, hey, can I read it? And so she read it, and she goes, and he went off on like a little bitch tirade, right? Like, man, I don't know why, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't understand, that kind of thing. And his wife read the comments and went, okay, look, we're going to have a sit down because Peter's right.
Really?
And this is, this is what you think he said, and this is what he means. And it forced him to sit back down and like really look at it, because he was ready to send it off to you. And he did some stuff, but he didn't do what you were really asking for. And she, when she gave him the comments back, he went, oh my, and then he could see it, right? And it forced him to actually go and do that rewrite, like really focus on it. So
cool. That's awesome.
Isn't it awesome? I just love that she was like, we are having a sit down. You are not allowed to blow him off.
I do have some experience doing this, just so you know.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Brittany says 3 of my stories were accepted for the 2025 anthology. Awesome.
Great.
And I agree, it's worth the wait. I'm finishing up revisions on my novel and am prepared to be patient for the next acquisition decision-making round. Thank you for giving writers a voice and for your transparency in the process. Oh, honestly, Brittany, thank you. It's interesting. So, I had to present 15 titles to the Salesforce, right, on Monday, and they gave me 40 minutes, which you would think would be enough time. Well, I was running out of time. And I ended up, I know, right? I wonder why. And one of the, well, actually 2 of the works were anthologies, short story anthologies. And I, so I went to skip over it, but because I was like, I'd rather focus on the titles that, like, I have a lot to talk about, right? Like, they're going to do these book signings, or they're going to be traveling, or they've got a publicist, or they've already won like a Penn Faulkner Award, or, whatever. And I mentioned the reason we do novella anthologies and short story anthologies, it's the whole point of it is to find new voices. And, so like we go out of our way to make sure that we go after those stories, those authors that, we maybe had never heard of before, and to help them. In some cases, we're really helping them find their voice, right? Because what they send us, it's good, but we can, from our experience, we know, like, we can help you make this like 10 times better.
Ben's the short story editor for the anthology, right?
Yeah.
And he's fantastic. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. So he's going to, whatever he says is going to make the story that much better. So absolutely.
Agreed. So when I made that comment, like, this is really why we have the anthologies. The head salesman, like their director or whatever, he went, huh, really? So all of a sudden, now he's excited to read our anthologies. So
awesome.
I was like, sweet. Margaret Buchanan says, absolutely love my editor, Cody. We have great synergy. Oh my gosh. Cody's another one. Guys, he's part of our leadership team. He's in charge of the Rise imprint. And I mean, he is absolutely amazing. I know he took a little while thinking about, like, do I really want this role? Do I really want to be, because he's already has a ton of things on his plate. So when he decided to join us, that was huge. So
yeah. And Cody's fantastic. He's got, like you say, he's got a lot on his plate. He's involved with a lot of different things. So him being the Rise publisher or editor in chief is fantastic. I know what he puts out is fantastic. So cool.
Oh, agreed. I can't believe we're already at 35 minutes after the hour. So if anybody is watching and you're not very familiar with this, so this is Run Wild with Us, Ask Us Anything. This is your chance to ask the editors of Running Wild and Rise whatever the heck you want. Just go ahead and pop your questions into the comments section. I'll read it. We'll take our turns responding to it. And if you're watching it and this is not Thursday between 5 and 6 p.m. Pacific time or 8 and 9 p.m. Eastern time, it is not a big deal. Go ahead and pop your question into the comments section, because we do go back and look for new questions throughout the week. So we'll just respond to it in the subsequent session. Caroline says, anthologies so showcase an author's ability to project a story. That is very true. And it's honestly, there have been a few times we had authors who we published their short story or we published their novella. And one, either like myself or one of the editors came back and said, hey, have you ever thought about like making this a novel or, having this as a series or something like that? And in some cases, we'll even walk through it with you. So like with, we have an anthology, Uncurable, which is our short stories that are based in the world of Cure, which is the first novel of the book that's behind me, for Family Pack. And some of the authors came back and said, I was so excited. I had so much fun writing this short story. I really want to write something longer. So I said, okay, I'll tell you what, you go and you come up, like brainstorm out an actual storyline, write the first couple of chapters, shoot them off to me, and then let's talk. Okay. And I've actually done that with some novellas that we've acquired, where it's like, this should really be a novel. I mean, it's great as a novella, but it really lends itself to being a longer piece. Why don't you and I talk about how we can make that happen? And we've actually published a few of the extended works. So it's a great way to find new talent. I mean, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Mm-hmm. So how are you, Peter, now that we've blathered, or I feel like all I've done is blathered on for far too long, but
we're both blathering. That's what we're here for. Talk about how cool the press is. Things are good. Things are really good. It's actually turning warm again down here in Northeast Florida. About to start work on our pool renovation. So that's going to be loud and dusty for a couple weeks. But that's something we're looking forward to. Mm-hmm. Other than that, things are going good. I'm enjoying the editing. I'm going to a Monet exhibit on Sunday, which is we're really looking forward to.
Ooh, love Monet.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Things are good. Wish I was writing more, but my days have gotten so busy lately. But it's like I said to you the other day. It's like I'm writing again. I have a grip on the story again that I haven't had in a while. So I need to press forward. I mean, I'm really interested, and this is cool. Like when you're writing a story, as everybody on this call knows, when you're writing a story, you get to a point where it's like, oh, I want to see what happens between this character and this character. I want to see what this character is going to do next. Mm-hmm. Don't write for them. Don't make them do it, but see what they're going to do next. And I'm at that point with my book. So I'm really interested in this scene. I'm really interested in how it's going to expand and what's going to happen with it going forward. So that sort of interest is urging me on to complete it. So that's a really good thing because I haven't felt that way about this book for a little while. So,
that's awesome. That is totally awesome. Yeah.
It's my first foray into the political world, which I have tried to eschew for the past several years for obvious reasons. But this book needs to be written.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah,
no, I'm a publisher who's being very kind with me, being very kind and very patient.
Hey, man.
VCFA, Austin College.
Oh, cool.
Forget I was wearing this. How
All
are
right.
you doing? How's the roof? How's
Oh
the
my God.
ceiling?
We have a roof, we have a ceiling, and now
Awesome.
they're finally doing the floor. So we should have everything done, and all of my furniture should be back by like April 11th.
Oh wow. How
Right?
long has it been?
It has been since December 10th, 2022. Yes.
Wow. And you haven't killed anybody yet?
You know what's so funny is the gentleman who's in charge of the oversight from the construction company, he's like, you are the most patient person I have ever met. Like, anyone else would have been having screaming fits. And I'm like, that's just because you don't see me throwing my phone across the room when I get off the phone with.
Yeah.
All of this is it took this long because for whatever reason my insurance company decided that a bunch of stuff that it was obvious it needed to be covered wasn't going to be covered. And thankfully, the construction company that was doing all the repairs totally backed me. And so we just kept going head to head for the last year and a half.
Oh,
year and a
wow.
half.
Yeah.
And there was like 2 or 3 times I was like, I'm just going to get cheap carpet. I can't handle this anymore. And the construction guys were like, no, no, no. Like, I have no idea why this insurance company is just being this awful, but you can't do it because, like, I live in a historic home, and they were like, your home, it's too beautiful. Like, my husband and I really, really worked hard to maintain the house and, you know, keep it of high quality. And they were like, you can't, don't give up, you know? So we're definitely going to have a housewarming once the floor's done and we actually have our furniture back.
Wow.
Right?
That's patience. Wow.
Yeah.
You're almost there. That's awesome.
And every time they're like, okay, someone's going to come out and do X, Y, or Z. All I do is I'm like, okay, don't get too excited. We don't know what's going to happen. We've been here before. Just stay patient, you know? So, yep. And similar to what you're describing, like I'm editing, I finished editing one memoir that has a ton of images in it. It's absolutely amazing. Guys, once we have sign off by, it's tied to a major studio. So once we actually have in writing a sign off from the studio that they won't like murder us for publishing this, I'll then talk about it. It's not murder worthy. But it does cover a lot of very well known IP, intellectual property, and so because of that, we just want to make sure that the studio's copacetic with it all. But anyway, so once we have that, then I can talk about it. So, but that's going down the production pipeline. I'm currently working on the gentleman from Africa's work. I'm going to start working on another collection of short stories that the poor guy, we had an editor assigned to him, and the editor who was all excited and actually picked his short story collection to work on just went MIA. I mean, like for like a year, completely MIA. And I reached out to the editor, and the author reached out to the editor, nothing. So I said, okay, look, I'll do it. I'll be your editor, but I need your patience because like I have these other things I need to finish out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So once I'm done and then there's like a high fantasy work that I gave the author a lot of notes. So she's off and running with that. And, but once I'm done with the stories I'm working on from the gentleman from Africa and the short story collection, then I can go back and I can write the third novel in the series for the World of Cure. So I totally feel you on the comment of getting your head back into that world. You know what I mean? Because I'm going to have to reread Cure, reread Family Pack, read the short stories that we publish that are, you know, associated with it, just to make sure that I've got all my ducks in a row, you know, because I keep all my notes, because, you know, like I do a ton of research around it, but you just to even get back into that voice that you've created, it's like, okay, I gotta get back there. So
it's a different set of clothes. You got to put on different hat, put on a different set of clothes to be in that moment. So my question is the third book an end cap, or is it just the next one in line?
It's just the next one in line.
Awesome.
So the way Ben and I designed this, and by the way, he's one of the people who calls me and threatens me, like, A, I have to keep writing, and B, there are certain characters I'm not allowed to kill or cause harm. And I'm like, okay. But what I've done is I've done a ton of research about different historic figures who have like kind of mysterious pasts, and I'm finding ways that we can leverage their stories into, like, weave that into the world of the lycanthropes. So like with the first one, the backbone of it was that the Burka, who is a Viking warrior that was found, you know, ages ago, and they realized that it was actually a woman. And the thought before that was that there were no Viking warriors who were women. So I thought, well, that's pretty cool, right? And it's pretty mysterious to have, you know, there was all this mystery around her and so forth. So we then basically made her a lycanthrope. And yeah, and we created this whole familial heritage around not just the Burka, but like these subworlds. So it's kind of like taking that kind of concept and then using it as the backbone for each novel. At least that's the intent. So
that's a great approach, using an actual character, an actual person in history, and building that history around them, giving them that story, so thus bringing them to life again in a different form. Neat.
Yeah, and my only pet peeve, I'm trying not to go to like there's certain characters that are totally overused. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone decides they're gonna, you know, have like JFK or something, right, in their novel. And I'm trying to go down the lesser known or lesser explored, you know. So
cool.
So Caroline says, I agree with Brittany. Ben was so fabulous, as I know you are, Peter and Lisa, being great editors, multi-talented, all of you. Well, that's very kind of you, Caroline, and we're really thrilled to get your story out as well, which is coming out soon, guys, very soon.
Thank you. Appreciate that, but I am no Ben. I mean, there is only one Ben.
That is true.
Ben.
Agreed. Ben. It has to have the exclamation point at the end.
Exactly. He is one of a kind. He's an amazing person. Great author, great editor.
Agreed. Caroline says, you have the major thing that works, Lisa. Patience, not giving up. Man, that's what you've got. You don't accomplish by giving up. You accomplish by just keeping with it, staying the course. It may, you know, you got to get through those non-glamorous moments and just say, all right, well, how can I make this better? How can we make this just keep driving forward? So
absolutely.
Brittany says, that sounds stressful, but I'm glad you're almost at the finish line. Man, well, in reality, we'll be done what we're doing, and then we'll have a whole nother, we're very good at continuing to give ourselves lots of projects, as my husband likes to say.
Well, you've been kind. You haven't offered my name up to any authors recently, so that I've been able to be, you know, nose deep in the books that I've been working on. But I know that light's going to come on again soon, so I got to be ready for it. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, you know, honestly, I just figure, I know you've got a lot on your plate, and like Ben has a lot on his plate. And really what I've been doing more so lately is if an author comes to me and they're like, I've been waiting so long, I'm like, okay, so you tell me what editors you want to work with. And most of them, they have no idea, you know. And we've had a couple who did come back with like specific names, And I said, okay, like one, oh my gosh. He came back with, I'm not going to name her name, but she's an editor who's worked with us forever. She's absolutely brilliant. Had 2 of the books that she's edited were named like among the best of the year. And she had a stroke and it left her, she could not read. And so she's been recovering for like, I want to say a year and a half, something like that. And is finally at a point where she thinks she can at least take a stab at like editing a short story collection or maybe a novella collection. But so, you know, and actually someone did bring your name up. And I said, well, I know he's finishing up like this, and this. So it would still be a while. And that's when it was like, no, then that's okay. I can wait. So yeah. We only have 10 minutes left. So I know, crazy. I did want to bring up, guys, if you are on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, I actually posted a link to the presentation that I used for the sales team on Monday. So if you want to get a sense of what these sales and marketing teams for the major distributors are looking for, this will give you a sense of that. I do want to own that I pulled this together at the 11th hour, the weekend before. I think it could be 100 times better visually. I really wish I could have taken our cover designer and just handed him the deck and said, make this pretty, because I know it's not. But we just didn't have the time. I mean, I actually got it in late. I was supposed to have it in on the 15th, and I didn't get it in until the day of the actual presentation. And thankfully, they let me use it. But this will help. I'm hoping it'll help authors really understand like why we ask for things like comps, right? Why we ask for target markets? Why do we ask for your bio? And like, have you won awards? And where have you been published elsewhere? And, what is your intent from a promotions perspective? So
yeah, we need that to market the book.
Yeah, absolutely. I had an author reach out to me this weekend, and because we send out a questionnaire, right? When you're done all the editing, stuff, we send out some questionnaires and ask you to complete them. And I had one author who said, well, what happens to it? And I'm like, it goes to me and I use it. And, but in all honesty, the whole reason we started using the questionnaires at first was because we weren't really getting the information we needed. And we really wanted authors to start thinking through, like, what can you do to help promote your work? So they're leading questions, right, to kind of help, guide you. And I also included in the pitch deck, like, this is all the stuff that we do for our authors, just standard. And this is the stuff that we do for our authors if we know that they have a high probability of selling really well, including like we pay for ads and, we pay for, different publicity and, stuff like that. So again, if anyone's curious about what we do and, what does it mean when we're focusing on a title, like what do we do for them, all that kind of thing, go, please check out the deck. I think it really will help you. So awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, we only have 6 minutes left. You guys have been amazing. These questions and commentary have been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you guys. Very, very cool. And I'm definitely have needed this water because.
Well, that's water. I thought that was wine.
I wish. No, that was last night. Last night we had. Yeah. tomorrow night it'll be gin and tonics because it'll be Friday, and oh my god, I made it.
I hear you. Been rough week after rough week with me, but standing tall, doing what I'm doing. What I do during the day is just to pay the bills. What I do at night is what matters. That's my dream.
We make magic happen. And actually, I submit for I submit for grants all the time to see if we can get funding. So this could be our day jobs. But so
that would be awesome.
I'm gonna keep on doing it, man.
We could build this up into something really big that pays all of us, takes care of everything. I mean, man, happy to be here on the ground floor. Do whatever you need, Lisa. Do whatever you need.
That is my goal. That's been my goal since day one. So, you know, we will absolutely get there, damn it. Caroline says, as an author, you have to be willing to get yourself out there. This is part of your life's work. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, it has to be your life's work. Otherwise, you're not going to stick to it. You know, you're not going to do what you need to do. So
I was thinking the other day about the older you get, why so many people don't publish older is because you get settled in these grooves and these routines, and you just don't make the time. And you still have to make the time to pursue your craft, to pursue your art. Otherwise, it's going to languish by itself, and nothing's going to get done. You won't be able to complete anything because it's just you're too comfortable. So you can't always be too comfortable. You've got to still work. You still got to still create. That's one of the reasons you're here.
Right. Totally.
So,
so Margaret asks, what's the projected number of titles for 2025? Give me 1 sec or 5 secs. I'm looking this up.
37.
Dude, if you're right, I will be in complete admiration because I like, holy shit, he's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
That's still great news for Curtis today. That's fantastic, and it's well deserved. He's a great writer. He's got a way of communicating with the author, communicating with the reader in a way that just makes you comfortable, makes you interesting, makes you engaged with the characters.
Right now we've got 17 for Rise and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. Oh my god, 21, 22. Shoot me now. 25 for Running Wild.
Off by 12.
And mind you, the majority of these are either in production or have already gone through production and are staged.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh my God. We've lost our minds.
That's 42 books.
And if you saw the number like that we have staged for 2026, wow. Oh my God. No wonder we're all, well, I wouldn't say we're all tired, but yeah, we just keep making it happen. Right. So,
I'm proud of the books that I'm editing. I think they're all really interesting, really gripping stories that need to be told. And that's the plus of this press is that we take risks on books that wouldn't catch hold on bigger publishing houses, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole point of being here is we look at these stories, and I think we're blessed in that all of our leadership team, we have enough experience and we have enough knowledge in terms of storytelling, craft, and what we think might take hold in terms of the broader, fans. And we say, okay, this works or this doesn't, but I know how to fix it, or I know how we can make it better. And we to your point, we run with it, so Margaret says, fingers crossed you get those grants funding. Oh my gosh, Margaret, 100%. We just keep going after it, right? You just have to. You absolutely have to. So,
can't get it if you don't ask.
That's right. Can't get it if you don't ask. And I learned my lesson early on. I used to go like small, like, well, if we got $5,000, that would be great. Now I'm like, nah, I want full funding so that we, this should cover us for like 3 years. And then that way we can really focus and we can really knock things together and we can really make shit happen. So
wow, that would be awesome. Imagine how many books we put out if we get that to that stage. That'd be amazing.
I mean, a big part of this at this juncture is we're amazing at editing, and I think our production process is kind of like spot on. It's getting in our own marketing team and really nailing down that process right around marketing and publicity, and really having that where it's just like boom, it just has to be triggered, right? We just go for it, and that's what I'm working on that. I mean, as you know, Peter, not just me, but we're all working on that, figuring out what does that formula look like? How do we make that happen? And because we've got all the bricks at this point, it's just building the castle. So
exactly.
Cool. All right. Wow. So we are actually over. As always, thank you guys. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, everybody who's joined us or who will be joining us. As always, thank you, Peter. I can't wait for us to see you again next week. And until then, have a fantastic week. So